It's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with the Ombudsman of ThisDay and Arise Media Group and ThisDay Newspapers Limited Group Executive Director, Kayode Komolafe. Good morning, Mr. Komolafe.
Good morning, Oji.
Good morning, Happy KK. 3 Sundays.
How are you?
Good morning, KK. Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, great to be here too.
All right, so we go to the newspapers and we'll start, as always, with ThisDay on Sunday. The stories are interesting. Lead says close ranks to avoid defeat in 2023. Buhari tells APC members. Promises to hand over Nigeria free of insecurity. Leaves for Washington, D.C. to attend U.S. African Leaders Summit. Tinubu returns from UK. On top of that story, at Abuja rally, Atiku reiterates commitment to restructuring, increased security. And on top of that, the strip below the masthead, INEC laments stakeholders' poor understanding of Electoral Act. That's a story on page 10 of the paper. While on the strip on top of the masthead, Nigeria's public debt stock rises by 1.22 trillion in 3 months. That's not a very good one. And on top of that, still business-related story, Emefiele, CBN banks to promote exports with over 500 billion naira. The riders here are interesting. Says Apex Bank to continue FX sales to banks. And National Arts Theatre to receive additional $100 million.
Good news, isn't it, Steve?
Absolutely good news. That's interesting. Masari backs cash withdrawal limits. And I think we can't end this without taking a look at the cover picture where we have Peter Obi of Labour Party returning to Ibadan over the weekend, for a chieftaincy title given to him by the Olubadan, who we can see here with all his Olubadan Council chiefs. And what's the chieftaincy for Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, presidential candidate of Labour Party, Mr. Obi, Olubadan of Ibadan. What's the name of the during Obi's Scotty visit? When you cannot turn in Ibadan, so there will always be something to create for him. I think it was just a courtesy visit, actually, to the Olubadan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, the lead story of ThisDay on Sunday is a political one. And the other newspapers too, Punch, Tribune, The Nation, the Guardian, so we also have front page political stories. But one thing that is remarkable about ThisDay's own story is the statement, credited to the president, when the Katsina State branch of a chapter of APC, visited him and was reflecting on the state of his party, asking them to close ranks and in order not to face defeat. But what is particularly remarkable here is the way the president has so far managed, the equilibrium, of his the two caps, that he wears. Here, in this election, he is the leader of a party, the ruling party, the APC. And at the same time, he's the president, commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Nigeria.
Yes.
So he has a responsibility to Nigeria as a whole, which is look after everybody to ensure that you have a conclusive, peaceful, election. Because it is not correct when people say no. When he assures that he will ensure that a credible election was part of his legacy. Some people will say, what people are called the hyper-critics of the president will say that, no, what is his business? He has no option. No, he has an option. Because in managing, so far he has done it very well, of course, it's obligatory on him as a leader of the party to support his party, to wish his party well, the campaign. But at the same time, to also assure, people that in his role as president, that he will not do anything, he will not take any step that will impair the process, or rather will impair the integrity, of the electoral process. Because we should not forget, so soon that once upon a time, we had a president in this country, that during an election, that was keenly contested with his party. He actually said that the election would be a do or die affair, so that Buhari is not talking of a do or die affair, while supporting his party, but at the same time ensuring that, telling everybody who cares to listen that, as far as he was concerned, that he will be on the side of, free and fair election, otherwise that it will ensure the credibility, of the process. I think it is something, that is remarkable, and the president should be encouraged along that line, because that is only the path of peace and the path of justice. And if you, for anybody who is concerned about the stability of the country, the position of the president, in this note should be commended. Now, the other story, which also is on the front page of other newspapers, which is also related to that, and that is the statement by INEC, reminding politicians, to familiarize, themselves with the Electoral Act, the law stated, because otherwise, ordinarily you would say that should be given. Yes. That is like saying the obvious, but it seems not to be obvious.
It's not.
Because how do you play a game that you don't actually, familiarize yourself with the rules, on this particular occasion, I was attending a press program, organized by the International Press Center. It was, an INEC official was actually making an observation, about, the virulent tone, the virulent tone of the campaign.
Yes.
That it is still, the law still says that when you on the campaign train, that you don't use, provocative language, that you don't, you avoid hate speech, you don't make prejudicial, statements against other candidates, or say things that will, threaten the security of the people. I think that is a very good reminder on the part of INEC, and I think it is something that should be well noted by all the political parties.
Absolutely, especially now that some people think that you can actually vote without a PVC. That's clearly against the Electoral Act.
That is not like that in the law.
Absolutely.
That is like misleading the people. And I think that is the point
of
making that. So politicians should understand the rules. And so when they make statements, when they mobilize their supporters, because people should not forget that one of the functions of a political party is also is that of political education. Mobilizing people. It's not a party does not exist only to present candidates for election,
That's true.
But, in fact, one of the routine, duties of the political party is to educate the public as well as its members, its members, and of course, on a larger note, the public at large, on what the rules are, in playing the game.
Absolutely. Shall we move over to ThisDay Style?
ThisDay Style, yes.
Yeah, if we can pull up ThisDay Style, the cover picture. Erelu Abiola Dosumu, true royalty. She is the monarch who has put a lot of effort towards unifying and propagating the Yoruba culture. In her interview, she talks about the significance of her titles and her plans for the Yoruba people as she ascends the throne. Her title, Yeye Odua.
Yeye Odua.
Yeye.
That's the mother.
Yeye
is a different thing to tell you. You won't use it in this context.
Absolutely. Holds an important...
Okay, that is true.
I don't get it, but you tell me after.
We will tell you.
We'll tell you.
You tell me after.
The tonal stress, your tonal stress, means you give the opposite of what?
The opposite. Like the pigeon.
Exactly.
No, absolutely not.
Stop saying
Yeye Odua.
Exactly.
She holds an important place in the history of the Yoruba race from time immemorial. Reputable women of proven integrity have been chosen as the Yeye Odua, which is the Queen Mother, like you said. And, she has graced this cover, and she, I believe, ascended the throne recently, got this title recently. Beautiful spread there, her picture spread. She is absolutely one of the women that have graced several magazines throughout the course of, celebrity socialite magazines that have been coming up from time immemorial.
Oh yes,
right?
I think it's just a new role, for her. She used to be the Erelu, isn't it?
Right.
Yes.
She's still not yet.
She has a bunch of titles. Yes.
Oh boy, okay. So
yes.
is
now the
latest
title.
Yeah.
That was for Lagos, but now
that's right.
It's like the
mother of Lagos or something.
Ile-Ife, yes, of course.
Beautiful.
It can only be conferred by the Oni.
That's true. But then we also the last Alaafin used to give Pan Yoruba chieftaincy title.
Yes, that is steeped in the Yoruba history. That is the Alaafin is giving that on a political note. Don't forget that Alaafin used to be the military leader of Yoruba land.
So
in
the
empire. Yes.
That for the generalissimo Gani Adams, who's the Are.
Yes.
But then K1, the musician, also had Maigon of Yoruba land from so that's delving out of the military zone.
The military zone, yeah.
I love it. I love your culture. It's beautiful.
It's an interesting thing between Oyo and Ife. But
yes,
this is a good one.
Still on the cover, a good cover,
yes.
And well produced by the way. And I think
beautiful as always.
Of Style Magazine and our team, should be commended, with the layout. And
absolutely.
Also to draw attention to the fact that there's also actually a story on the front page of ThisDay that you can now have ThisDay style, online. That is.
Yes.
If you go to ThisDay.
That's right.
Live.com.
How is the headline there? CE copy of ThisDay style on www.thisdaylive.com.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
a good one. So Kanye, congratulations.
Yes.
Again,
Kanye, congratulations. I believe Azuka did this interview of
It's well produced.
Azuka too will deserve some titles, soon.
Yes,
of something.
of something.
Sooner than later.
Well done to the entire ThisDay style team. You can see a whole difference since Kanye became the executive editor of the magazine. Well done.
Brilliant. So we move to the Punch very quickly, KK. Bleak Yuletide looms as food prices others soar. That's on page 3. Traders, housewives, workers complain of rising prices, falling income. Farmers blame insecurity, flooding, climate change, forex crisis, others. Say country heading for another recession due to food shortage. I mean, this is expected in December, but this is a different kind of, this is a dirty December as far as finances are concerned. A few other interesting stories. Drug couriers pick UAE as haven, devise bizarre trafficking methods. That's the NDLEA chairman, giving, I believe, something on why people, Oshpopi was picked from there, wasn't it? Wasn't it? At UAE. Why there is a huge backlog of US visa appointment. The Consul General, who was on a rise a few days ago, and I think he's been doing a number of media runs. This is a good subject to address because even for those who are qualified for Dropbox, you can't just get dates. People have been waiting for months and years. I think one key thing that is consularship, if we can say that, will be remembered for will be how he tackled the issue of the backlog of visas for people.
Since we have just 2 minutes, Mr. Komolafe, I just want to add the Guardian newspaper, the lead story there, Africa's soccer rising. Morocco break World Cup jinx, stun Portugal. I'd love for you to comment on that as well. And then earlier on the show, we talked about government violating citizens' rights with absence of infrastructure. So it's a group there. And then some politicians not comfortable with the new Electoral Act, says INEC. We discussed that earlier. But yeah, let's start with Steve quickly on one topic, which is the food prices. And then we can talk about Morocco really quickly.
Like I said at the beginning, you could see that the front page is actually a mixture of both political and economic news, And like Steve remarked earlier, this is particularly, a grim story, about more or less announcing ahead that they are going to have a bleak Xmas, because of the economic climate. And of course, that the story is also thorough in the sense that it gives you the context, about, don't just implication that even there is a threat, of food security, as a result, of climate change, Then, of course, the drug story, we don't have time, is something, that should be remarked, But on this note, if only just if only to say just one thing,
yes.
And that is to commend Brigadier General Marwa, the momentum,
well.
I mean, for raising the bar, in the anti-drug war, that the momentum should be kept, Yes, you're about to say something about Morocco, to be, I think it's in the nature of this FIFA, edition that you have a lot of surprises in a lot of offsets, I think, what Morocco did yesterday is actually in that line.
Are you a football fan?
Yes.
Are you a football fan, KK?
I enjoy more. I enjoy more the politics of football. I enjoy the politics of football more than the game itself.
Yeah.
So in this sense, Oji introduced it. I see the African, the Pan-African spirit there.
Absolutely.
It is what I'm actually celebrating.
All right.
Good for you, Morocco.
Good for
everybody's rooting for Morocco.
We are rooting for Morocco, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, all right. Thank you, Mr. Komolafe. We'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
All right, that brings us to the end of the morning show today, and thank you for watching. Do stay safe. I'm Steve Ayorinde.
And I'm Oji Okwe. From our entire team here in Lagos, Nigeria, enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day. Goodbye.